Hey everybody, I'm Lee Bergstein. I'm here with Cooper Knowlton. We're deep inside the metaverse today. Actually, I'm in my basement. But we're really happy to be joined by Aviva Sonenreich. Aviva is the managing broker of the Warehouse Hotline. She's a broker, owner, a real estate investor out of Denver, Colorado. So we're going pretty far west for today's talk. Aviva's posted a few articles about the metaverse and commercial real estate. And because that's an area that we're exploring, we thought she would be a great guest to talk a little bit more about real estate in the metaverse. So Aviva, thanks for hopping on with us today.
Lee, Cooper, thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat and hopefully provide you and whoever else is listening value here.
Awesome. All right. Well, maybe you could start off by just telling us a little bit. You're a broker in real life, and maybe you could sort of start off by explaining what you've done specifically in the metaverse and whether you've begun brokering any deals in the metaverse.
Sure. So realistically, with the advent of technology, the metaverse is something really fascinating, and brokerage as a whole is bound to change. Why? Because the internet gives us the ability to do things ourselves, eliminate the middleman, eliminate all these extra processes. But they're the systems that were previously in place. Something I would compare this to is, you used to need a stockbroker to buy your stocks. Now I can buy stocks all day, every day on Robinhood. So much like the stock market, buying stocks in 1970, you needed someone to facilitate it. And moving forward, I think transacting real estate and transacting property in the metaverse, brokers should be scared and should be really trying to see where they can actually add value, because 3, 4, 5, 6% commission is a lot of money on any deal. And if the value is there, it makes sense. But if it's not, your head's on the chopping block. So as a broker, things are changing rapidly. As a broker in the real world, things are changing rapidly. And I don't quite know if it will translate to the metaverse, because I find a lot of people will buy anything in Web3, in the middle of the night, or sure, at times when maybe, these commercial brokers are 9 to 5, and it's like, well, that's not how we live as a society anymore. So brokers, I say, start getting creative to figure out how you can provide value.
So specifically, if I'm looking for real estate on the metaverse, I know enough that I would probably just go to a platform like OpenSea, and I could just, assuming I have my crypto wallet, I can just buy property directly on there.
Wow, Cooper, you learned a lot, like overnight. Look at those terms. Those are good.
But presumably a broker, I would imagine a broker could deliver some value, because the broker is going to be the one who knows and understands the different neighborhoods, the different platforms. At least for someone like me, I'm looking, and I don't know the difference between Sandbox and Decentraland and all these different new platforms. So I imagine that might be an area where a broker could come in and deliver some value, right?
It's interesting that you say that. If I invest in real estate in Denver, where I live, I know, and it's not a total terrible buy or a total terrible property. I know if I hold it in the long term and I'm not a complete degenerate, it will appreciate in value. That is not the same case with the metaverse. And as a result, buyers in the metaverse need to do their own research. I would say it's hard enough to trust a broker in real life, let alone a broker in the metaverse. I would say if somebody is serious about investing in the metaverse, they need to do their own research and rely entirely on their own decisions, because in a headline reading society, you do not know, purchasing real estate in the metaverse is some of the riskiest transactions you can do at this point. And if somebody's going to tell you that they're a pro in the metaverse right now, they're lying, because that's not possible. And so you need to do just like anything in Web3, just like any investment, do your own research. Real estate is real estate is backed by land. Metaverse real estate is backed by nothing except the blockchain. So.
And I mean, I've certainly as I've sort of dug into the space a little bit, I have started to see organizations that are metaverse experts and metaverse brokers and there's a kind of a whole service industry that is creeping up. And I imagine we are going to hear and see a lot of fraud and a lot of scary things that are kind of coming out of that space. I don't know if you've have firsthand heard horror stories or seen anything yet that makes you particularly concerned.
Of course. Look, and I'll take this back to real estate. There are fraudsters, there are liars, there are Ponzi schemes in real estate backed by. Oh yeah, I could tell you a few. Just have to do it off screen. But right, so there are issues in real estate backed by land. Now, of course, that will transfer to the metaverse, where it's this new industry. There's even more room for error. The difference, and this is where I see the real value is the difference is that it's all recorded on the blockchain. So the blockchain gives you an accurate ledger of what's going on. And I was talking to somebody about this last night. The issue, okay, you see things right now where people will put out a NFT collection, promise the world, and then disappear with the 10 million that they just raised on the drop. And even though it's all recorded on the blockchain, you know their address, you know where they are, still doesn't matter. The term for that is called a rug pull. So when you pay for something and then the owners or the leaders dip, that's a rug pull. And that is bound to happen with any new technology, but it's also bound to happen with any existing anything existing in the investment space. So lots of room for error, but hopefully the blockchain will be able to, the blockchain will help in keeping things more honest, even though the recourse at the end might not be the same as real property.
I guess the part of the issue is the value comes from perspective, right? It's a lot like the stock market. If the marketplace attaches a value to your virtual real estate, then it's going to be worth money. When the market decides it's no longer valuable, or if it's worth more, it's going to go down or up accordingly. There are far more objective criteria by which to value real estate, which it's hard to ascertain what the objective criteria is for metaverse real estate.
Yeah, I think that's the big issue with the metaverse. I think right now is like it's like 1999 with internet stocks, right? Where you're getting these massive valuation on, what was it, pets.com, but pets.com was worth nothing. And then when the party ended, the party really ended. It's the same thing with the metaverse, right? There's all these different metaverses, just kidding, metaverses. Where's the value behind it? And yeah. And so I think that's a big issue some people are not quite thinking through. And a lot of this goes into your risk tolerance and risk and reward.
Have you seen anyone doing anything interesting with metaverse real estate beyond simply owning it as an investment and hoping that it goes up in value and flipping it, or are there people or I guess there's also people who are using it as advertisements, right? You see that some companies and people are using it to display the Atari logo on a big part of Sandbox or whatever land it is. But do you think there's at this present moment, I'm sure obviously this is rapidly developing, but if someone came to you and said, why might I want to own some metaverse real estate? Do you have any tangible reason or value that could be attributed to that land beyond simply people want to own it because they think it might be more valuable 6 years from now than it is today?
Sure. Like any investment, the question to that then becomes, what do I get back? Right. I don't know if any of the current metaverses really deliver anything tangible enough for me to really go in. However, I do believe in the future, the metaverses will come out with utility, some form of utility, something that incentivizes somebody to buy. So this month, a metaverse is coming out called The Other Side. The Other Side is a metaverse with, it's essentially by this company called Yuga Labs, and they own all the most prolific NFT brands. And moving forward, the other side will be where these NFTs live. If you own the NFT, you can go into the other side. You can buy land in the other side. And they also just released a currency called ApeCoin, where you can only transact in the other side with ApeCoin. So we're starting to see hints of utility, in my opinion, in the metaverse, right? Because the utility here is community, being exclusive, the belief that the Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoPunks, these prolific 6-7 figure NFT collections will have a place outside of, in the metaverse to, congregate. But it's just like any investment, it's a value proposition. And it'll be interesting to see what is valuable to us in the future to incentivize us to buy in the metaverse. Generally, it's financial, or it's like it's community or looking cool. So
this is the final, I'm not sure if Lee has any additional questions, but the final question that I'm curious about is you have a wealth of knowledge in this space, and how are you obtaining, are there certain writers, are there certain places that you're spending time to understand, like how does one know? There's certainly not articles about the other side being written in the New York Times. And if that's how you get most of your news, how are you sort of tracking these trends, and just what are you following?
YouTube University, just getting on YouTube, clicking around and using my best judgment to see who I can trust and who I cannot trust. And that I'm a big video person. So like I said, all day. There's plenty of content on it. It's just whether, the validity of said content.
Right.
This is content, so people can determine whether this is valid or not.
Yeah.
That was me being sarcastic. I guess I had one further question. Obviously this whole project started because we kind of had this maybe harebrained idea to open an office in the metaverse. That's the goal here. So it sounds like maybe your advice would be don't do that. So I guess one, is that the advice? And two, if not, what are some of the things that you think we should think about, given that, we'd be opening the office not to make a lot of money, but to potentially use it as a short, medium, and long-term resource for our clients?
Oh, I think there is opportunity there. I know a real estate brokerage. I'm happy to put you in touch with the managing broker who their office is in the metaverse. They hang out in the metaverse and they love it. And it's really valuable to them. I think a lot of it is like the community aspect, right? Like you can be in the same room as somebody, even though you're in New York and you're in California. The question is where makes sense? What metaverse? Is it Sandbox? Is it Decentraland? We don't know the answer to that question yet. But I do think there is value there. And, for a client of yours to live in another state and then pop into your office and everybody in the office, including your client, is there. Some people will find that valuable. The baby boomers, I don't think they're going to find that valuable, but the rest of us might.
Yeah, I don't remember if I saw it in, I think I saw it in the Price Water PwC article about the idea of taking a trip to like an overseas factory and touring the factory without having to get on the plane, which we could do already anyway. You're not in the metaverse when you're doing it, I guess. So, those kinds of things I see ways to save clients and consumers time if it can be used for that purpose in a way that makes sense and is more valuable than a phone call or a Zoom. I see that too.
Definitely. Yeah, there's a value proposition, be it time savings or, value does not have to just be monetarily.
Totally. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. I very much appreciate your time. Final question is where, if people want to connect with you or learn more about your practice, how does someone get in touch with you?
Sure. You can find me on TikTok at The Real Estate Source or email me. I have a company called the Warehouse Hotline, warehousehotline.com. My email is aviva@warehousehotline.com, AVIVA.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Cooper. I appreciate y'all reaching out and I hope to talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.